Good morning. The title that I finally settled on this morning is Uplifting Humanity with Collective Imagination. And my blurb goes like this. I finally got to listen to Tuesday's Collective Imagination show with Lisa Harrison and crew yesterday. And I do have the link to that in the blurb. Following my own appearance on Morning Brew with Gwen Caldwell on Wednesday, and yes, I have the link to that as well, a YouTube link that was provided by a couple of my friends. Yes. And continuing, in the latter, I got to mingle on Skype with Brian Kelly, Seraph GL, Ginger, and Gwen. It was quite an experience. I'm glad to be part of this group of amazing humans being and doing our best to uplift humanity during this time of quantum change in our awareness. Today I will talk about this and other things. Oh, this quote came from a friend after I wrote the blurb. Quote, Ron, I hope this reaches you before the meditation room. And he includes a quote, I slept and dreamed that life was joy. I woke and found that life was duty. I acted, and behold, duty was joy. And that's Tagore, whom I didn't have any clue who he was, so I looked him up on the internet. And he lived from 1861 to 1941. He was an Indian guru, apparently. And Tagore, or however you want to say that, is his anglicized name. It's a much longer name in Hindi English, or Indian English. Anyway, interesting quote. And no, you didn't catch me. And it was Dan Riley that sent that. You didn't catch me before I went into the meditation room, but you did catch me before I began my video, after I had written the blurb and started looking at some of the emails. So I want to say thank you to all the people that I connect with online and connect with in spirit and connect with all over the world. I mean, it is such an amazing thing to be able to have friends in so many places and friends with so many various gifts and abilities. And my God, life is amazing. But truthfully, where I am this morning is I'm feeling a bit down, a lot of sadness. My friend, well, let me just say that one of my very close friends is facing some challenges, shall we say. I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but anyway, it's my response to that situation is one of sadness. And another one of my friends called me yesterday who went through an operation, exploratory operation on Tuesday, and that's a friend from Europe and England. And so I was really appreciative of the update. I was the first person that she called following the operation, which gave me a feeling of being special, that someone considers that, because she was much on my mind. She had called me on Monday to tell me she was going in for the operation, and she came to mind, as when people do that, they tend to come to mind frequently during the day, and I send positive thoughts and prayers their way. That's just part of my daily routine. And as Tagore said, sometimes it does, when you wake, it does feel like duty. And it was suggested yesterday, and I believe possibly by Dan in another thread, that I do these videos to entertain myself. Well, they are certainly sometimes entertaining, but when I'm feeling a little bit of low energy, they more are a sense of duty. And sometimes duty is joy, just as Tagore said. Sometimes doing what I came to do, and when I'm feeling really, really connected, and when I like everything that's going on around me, I'm not saying resigned to accept what's going on around me. I'm saying that I really like it. You know, it's something that I would choose from my optimistic self to be the way of it. You know, there's totally different things, and I want to acknowledge each of you and encourage each of you. Acknowledge that these are the emotions that we experience as humans. They're not always high. Sometimes they're low. It is like a roller coaster. And I want to encourage you to allow that, even when it doesn't feel good. And I admit, I'd rather be happy than sad. I'd rather be bubbling with joy than dealing with disappointment. I would. I'm just like you. We're all that way. Every human is wired that way, I believe. I can't imagine anybody being wired some other way as a human being. That is the human experience. It is an emotional roller coaster. But as I implied in the title, many of us do see our role here as one of uplifting humanity. And I do it not by always being a cheerleader and always jumping rah, rah, rah. I do it by being honest. I do it by being as authentic and genuine as I know how to be. Expressing myself as it really is at a given time. Not putting on a mask. Not trying to hide behind some kind of a facade of acceptable emotional projection. Pretending to be joyful when joy is not what I'm feeling. To me, that's hypocrisy. And I know I've talked to lots of people about putting on a happy face and stuff like that. And maybe there's something to be said for it. But to me, being genuine is always the highest integrity, the highest in expression. When it's time to weep, you weep. When it's time to rejoice, you rejoice. And that's just how I see human life. That's how I see life. It's being in the moment and telling the truth about what you are. Don't try to be somewhere where you're not. I had flying dreams again last night, and none of them make sense to me. I mean, I kept being in places that I didn't recognize, and when I was on foot a lot, and looking for public transportation in one instance. But when a big crowd came out of this building and was flooding into the street out of this building, I just was walking on the sidewalk, and when I saw the big crowd running, I just went right over the top of them and continued on the other side. Wow. It makes me laugh even to recall the dream in this moment. But the collective imagination show that I listened to last night, I listened to Heather, I listened to Caleb, and of course the regulars on there, and they're talking about this new thing that Caleb is bringing out and that they're unfolding. And boy, it's exciting to know that there are people that are doing things, that are creating things to change the way we live in this world, to bring our value into actual usefulness and providing the means so that we can draw on the resources of our value. However that manifests, whether it manifests as money, whether it manifests as creativity, however it manifests in the real world or in the physical world, in our lives, in the way that we live day by day, things are being established to change the situation. Now, many of you are pessimistic, and you look at things and you say, man, the elite have been embedded. They've got this system. I mean, they've got it down. They've got the police and the military on their side. They've got the courts on their side. The whole system is geared for the elite to win. Well, it's not. if that's what you see, and there are, you know who I'm talking about, don't you, in Great Britain there, my friend? If that's what you see, it's because you aren't seeing a big enough picture. And even when I look at the things that make me sad, I'm looking at I'm focusing on one particular element. And it's not what I would consider the optimal situation. And that always makes me feel sad when I see people and I have the perception of people suffering. I would do anything to end the suffering. But when I step back and I look at the bigger picture, I see a panorama that is very hopeful. I see things and I feel things, and I'm aware of things that are going on, and I'm made aware of them even in the 3D world, not just in the 5D world, but in the 3D world. I'm made aware of things that people are doing to shift the consciousness of humanity, to change the paradigm of belief from the way it's always been as the way it has to be again. And those of you that only look at how it's always been will never see a good picture for tomorrow. Because in order to get a good picture of tomorrow, you have to be in the collective imagination with people like Lisa Harrison and Brian and Bob and Chris and all of the wonderful people that gather on there, and on the Freedom Reigns program on Monday nights. Every Monday and Tuesday night they have these amazing programs that uplift people. And then Gwen is doing her thing on Wednesdays. I guess it's OPPT Day, which of course the OPPT is now the one people, because the trust, the mechanism is no longer needed. It accomplished its purpose. But there's many things. I mean, I mentioned a couple of days ago, I think I saw where the Quiche Foundation is about to release the names of all the world leaders that have agreed to peace. This is just one development. All of these things are developments, and I'm thankful for all of the many people that are each producing their piece of the puzzle, that are each working on their aspect of the changes that are being brought into being in our world, so that we can change the world from one of domination and slavery to one of absolute truth and freedom. And the absolute truth is the precursor to freedom. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Indeed, it will, and it does, and it always works that way. And the old system cannot exist in all of the light and truth that are being shed on this planet right now. And it's being shed there through the hearts of people who are opening their hearts, as well as being downloaded from the very cosmos itself, because this is the time of quantum change. It's not going to take decades or centuries or anything like that to bring about the positive change that is in our hearts now, because we can see it, we can feel it. There are those of us that do experience it. Even when we're sad, we know that there's something more. We know that there's joy. We know that there's joy, and we've felt the joy. And later on today, I'm going to get to interview or have a conversation with Norma Sunshine from New York City. And I've never used this software to actually create a video, so I don't know what I'm going to run into. I'm hoping to get it up tomorrow or Sunday at the latest. I'm not sure yet whether it's going to replace one of my videos or be in addition to it. But I'm really looking forward to her being able to tell her story. We spoke on the phone a couple of times yesterday. We've been speaking on the phone actually every day. And, she's an amazing young lady, and I want to allow you to meet her. So there's many wonderful things happening. Many beautiful people that are starting to blossom, like their lotus blossom is opening up from inside of their own being. And it's just an amazing and a beautiful thing to behold, and to be able to interact with some of these people is amazing. I'm thankful for each one of you that sends me love. I had a problem with trying to upload or get to see a PowerPoint presentation yesterday, and I put a cry for help on Facebook, and several people reached out and tried to give me advice. And then I found out later on that what I thought I had received was not what was thought from the other end as being sent. But that's a resolved issue now. I realize that there was a glitch between her computer and my computer, and what she thought she was sending me, she didn't send me. And I was trying to make something work that didn't have all the pieces. And that was really the root of the problem. But in any case, it's resolved now. At least I know where we're going to, what needs to be done from here on. So once again, I'm thanking you for listening to my rambling this morning, and so many mornings. And it's an honor to serve you, an honor to tell you the truth, and to share my life, and to share my vision and my experience and my emotions and everything else with you. Thank you for allowing me to do this and to be part of your world. Namaste.